This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. It's First Alert Weather Breakdown time. Hello. Welcome on. Hi. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Thank you very much for joining the stream here for the day. Today, I do the morning shows trying to wake you up. I can still wake you up now. It's 10:30. Sometimes, hey, I have a good sleep-in kind of a day where I'd sleep until 11 or noon. To be fair, my body does not have much of a, what's the word I'm looking for, schedule? It's a weird one being on the 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. work schedule that I'm on. Sometimes I even cover the noon show like I will today, actually. So, hey, I'll be on the noon show. But, hey, it's First Look with a Breakdown time here for the day today. Welcome on, welcome in. It is Monday. I know, start to the brand new work week. But we have lots of sunshine here for the day today, and it's the coolest day of the work week. So, got two things, going for us here for this entire work week coming on up. Unfortunately, yes, that means that days after today are, well, let's just say hot, humid, and back to the good old Arclitect summer that I know everybody loves and adores here. Anyways, let's get to what we're getting here for the day today. Not only do we have all of our local forecast details coming on up, which is mainly pertain to the heat and humidity going to be returning into the region. We're also talking about the tropics. Today is your weekly check into what's going on in the tropics, and boy, is there stuff going on. The tropics have woken up. Essentially what that means is we actually have storms to discuss, areas of interest also to discuss in the Atlantic Ocean. June and July have been kind of quiet, which they usually are. We've had 3 named storms up until the weekend. We'll talk about Dexter, the newest named storm that just formed late last night. We're going to talk about that and all of the details, including the other areas of interest that we're actually watching out for, keeping you first alert about in the Atlantic Ocean. All the details on that will be after our local forecast. Let's get to what's on tap here first here for the day today around the region. All right, let's get a live look outside. It is a window world camera into beautiful skies here for the day today. You get the point. It is a gorgeous day to be out and about around the region. I took a nice walk yesterday. That felt good, especially in the morning. This morning I was even walking out and about what I could outside of just being on air, and just took the time and took the advantage of when I could get on air, actually. So I can just say, I know the morning is past already, kind of, and now we're heating up for a good bit, and we'll talk about temperatures here in just a moment, the current temperatures, that is. But hey, still enjoy the early mornings, especially when those temperatures are in the lower 70s. We had some upper 60s this morning. That felt real good. All right, that was Texarkana. Shreveport, though, same kind of deal. If anything, maybe some high-level clouds. You can see way up on our camera there. I mean, they're thin. You can tell they're thin, first of all, because they don't look threatening, number one. Number two, they're high-level cirrus clouds. And you can tell, again, that they're thin. Thin layers. Still a good amount of sunshine, obviously, coming on through that you see there on that webcam. So let's get to the headlines of what we're dealing with actually here as we've turned the page now into our brand new work week. Again, as I mentioned, it is the coolest day of the work week. Just based on that fact alone, take that as you will. You need to get any yard work done outside, and you need to pick a day to do so today. I know it might be egregious because you're still getting used to the work week and it's a Monday, but hey, get it out of the way with, and at least the atmosphere will attempt to cool. Keep it a little cool, especially here for the afternoon. Now, is it going to be cool? No. Highs are still above 90 degrees here for today. But, again, comparatively speaking to what we've been talking about with the intense heat, the intense humidity, that's what's going to be coming back. And most of that's because the sunshine of today is going to be hanging around for quite some time around the region and could even be extended into this coming weekend as well. So you got any weekend plans? If you're already looking forward to the weekend already, even though we just jumped into the work week, we got some sunshine for you in store and a good amount of hot conditions still as well. If this past weekend was maybe, I I wouldn't say chilly, but if you really want that intense heat along with the poolside and the pool conditions, there you go. That your weekend for that is next weekend. So here's how things look again this afternoon. Low 90s is our high temperature mark. Most of the day, I will say, is going to be hanging around the 80s. We don't reach 90 degrees until we shouldn't reach 90 degrees until after lunchtime. I mean, look at these temperatures. We still have upper 70s even now around 10:30. When we were talking about those intense heat, intense humidity days last week, we were talking about actual temperatures, remember, in like the upper 80s by now, and the feels like temperatures already into the 90s. We do have feels like temperatures here for you now, which is slightly warmer, but even then, the hottest spot is technically Bienville at 90 degrees, but 87 in Mansfield. Besides that, most of us feeling like we're in the lower 80s, even some upper 70s still around Mount Pleasant. 75-degree temperature mark still for DeQueen. So it's a slow warm-up here for the day today. And again, it's the coolest day of the work week. It's because we actually have highs cooler than average for one more day. Then the heat returns, especially by Wednesday. Wednesday is when we're practically, you could say, quote-unquote, back to normal, so to speak, for our temperatures that are going to be running above average and really continuing, yes, to ramp on into the region here all the way through the weekend. So enjoy the highs while they are this low. 93 in Texarkana, 91 in DeKalb, 90 in Broken Bow, 92 in Hope, 92 in Marshall, 92 Longview, 92 Carthage, 92 Center, 92 Dangerfield. As for Shreveport, 93 degrees, 92 in Ringgold, 90 in Homer for this afternoon. Again, keep in mind that's the actual temperatures. Obviously, we still do have humidity in the region, but it's not horrific. It's not off the charts, definitely. We got feels like temperatures in the mid to upper 90s here for the day today, but again, it's just going to continue to ramp on up. We get feels like temperatures around 100 here for tomorrow. And then I really think the first logistical day of where we could have the heat advisories and those heat alerts returning probably is most likely going to be for Wednesday, especially as temperatures continue to kind of go like a cellular bar. They go up, 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 on your phone. Point is, we go from 93 today and continue to increase all the way through the work week. By Friday, highs are at 99 degrees. Again, those feels like temperatures. Whew. They're going to be way up there. Here for this, here for the end of the work week. I will say there's maybe a tiny cool down in store for the weekend, but we'll have more details on that coming in our 7-day forecast. All right, now first our Doppler radar here. We've been tracking all morning long this little group of showers, which continues to go south of Dallas. Just so you know, around 5 a.m. this morning. This was right on top of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. And it was moving slightly to the east. And technically, it looked like it was approaching the Arklatex in a way, especially because it was moving eastward. But then it's kind of reached a stop sign right at the edge of the Arklatex. We've had a good amount of rain today, early this morning around Tyler, Texas. But, I mean, the rain hasn't even reached Longview. And I think we had a brief drizzle in Carthage early this morning, too, from the system. But that's been it here in the Arklatex. Overall, we've kept Texarkana and Shreveport pretty dry, and we should continue to do so, even rolling into the afternoon hours. So we are tracking, again, this cluster of storms, making sure it goes farther south rather than going any farther east into the Arklatex. In fact, I guess if you look really closely, it is technically reaching a little brief light rain out towards Henderson, but I think you get the point. Even on this latest loop, you can see the storms disintegrating, especially right in here. It's starting to lose its moisture on the back end as it continues to meander farther, mainly off to the south end. I mean, this barely might even touch, it might not even touch Lufkin. That's the point. It's not going to roll into the region here for, not now, but the next several hours. All right, so for this afternoon, maybe 1, maybe 2 cells form, and if they're going to form, it looks like it's mostly going to be in East Texas where that group of cluster of storms has been. But overall, I'm not seeing too much of an issue of rain here for this afternoon. And after today, it's completely blank here for the most part. Maybe 1, maybe 2, again, brief stray showers. But even those afternoons with like heavy downpours, it'll show you more than just 1 or 2 green specks, essentially. So if you happen to get any of these showers over the next 3 days, I just consider yourself unlucky. And don't expect it the next day, hopefully. So overall, just slim rain chances over the next several days. In fact, this is a rainfall potential map over the next 7. Yes, next 7 days, which really show zip. If anything, maybe brief rain creeping into Natchitoches here. I believe that's from the straight chance of rain that's targeting this coming weekend, but obviously that's several days away, and you get the point. It shouldn't rain here much. Don't have a substantial chance of rain here anytime soon. All right, coming up next, that was a look at your full local forecast, which honestly you could describe as, yes, a little bland, because, I mean, we're not dealing with a major rain chance to talk about, and all we're doing with the temperatures is really rising them. It's kind of one direction type flow, mainly because our skies are not bringing in any rain to bring us any drastic change in temperature in the opposite and cooler direction. So while our local forecast remains kind of completely quiet, nice and peaceful, I guess, with the summer, we are ramping things up a good bit here in the tropics, and we're going to talk more on that after we return from a quick break. I'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Thank you very much for joining us here for the day today. Yes, our forecast here locally doesn't. I know. I saw your comment, by the way, on Christian. By the way, YouTube.com if you want to submit comments live on the podcast, and so I can answer your questions live. I saw Christian. You're kind of a little depressed that you're not able to track any storms, not just now, but over the next couple days. And well, yeah. But hey, this is to be fair, without the tropics, which we're gonna go over in just a second. Without the tropics, it's kind of you could call it a little bit of a boring forecast period, with nothing much going on in the summer. Obviously, it'd be better, in the grand scheme of things, if no tropical systems happen, because boy, do they make a huge impact, especially on coastal areas. Wow, boy, do they ever. But the point is that we've had good news throughout June and July that we haven't had too much to discuss tropic-wise, period, which has been honestly fantastic. So, yeah. So, thankfully, it's been nice and quiet for the past 2 months. We've had 3 named storms. 3. Let's see if I remember them. I remember Barry and Chantal. I don't remember the first one. I don't remember the A one. But anyways, the point is we have Dexter that has now formed over this past weekend. And to kind of introduce it a little bit further, back on Friday, literally just this past Friday, at the end of July, we had no areas of interest whatsoever. No areas of interest to look at. No potential storms. Nothing forming in the next 7 days. Flip the time to now. And we already have one tropical storm that formed last night. That was Tropical Storm Dexter. We're going to show you the details of that and show you where it is and where it's going. And on top of that, we have 2 areas of interest as well. So now that we've kind of gone into August over the weekend, which is kind of the start of the peak tropical months, you could say, we're starting to ramp up the coverage a little bit here around the region. So kind of a interesting perspective for you, honestly, there. All right, let's get into the graphics here. Working on pulling them up for you right now. Hopefully this low. I don't know what's going on here. Hold up. I think my graphics are saving real quick. Hold up. Let's see. Give me 2 seconds. Little technical difficulties behind the scenes. Please load. Please. There we go. Beautiful. Bam. There we go. I don't know why it took a second. But anyways, we are here. Welcome on to the tropical forecast here for this work week. Now, we're going to update this definitely throughout the first alert with a breakdown throughout the week. But we probably won't go into as much detail about the tropics as what we will now, so to speak. All right, so again, we got 3 systems to discuss. One system that has formed into a tropical storm, as I mentioned, Tropical Storm Dexter, and 2 different areas of interest, which we'll go over last. Let's first discuss the newly formed storm as of last night. And thankfully, this should not be famous. Tropical Storm Dexter. There it is. Let me remove my face so you can see the full picture, including the details. Let's get the latest on the details. That's the latest update that's continuing to refresh. It continues to move northeast. Northeast is its latest movement. It looks like at 14 miles an hour, which is a good steady movement, but most importantly, I know people mostly pay attention to that wind speed. It has maximum winds at 45 miles an hour. You need just 40 miles an hour of wind in a closed circulation to form that tropical storm. Now, it's incredibly lopsided, first of all. If you look, all the moisture is kind of stored on this eastern edge right here. There is almost nothing on the northwest side. You can see even a little bit of cloud cover trying to form over here in the latest loop, but even that's getting shattered by what we call wind shear in dry air, mainly because this is a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a swift movement, but the speed is picking up. If you notice that the last movement, it was moving at 12 miles an hour. Now at the latest update, which was, I think, just 2 hours ago, it's picked up movement at about 2 miles an hour up to 14 miles an hour. So it's speeding up as it continues this way, as you can kind of see on the tropical satellite picture. But if I zoom out here, you can already tell that this is off, if you couldn't tell already. This is the east coast of the United States over here. So this formed directly off the east coast and has been continuing to maneuver through the overnight hours farther east and north. First of all, Maine is right here. So in order for it to even hit any of the northeast areas and northeast states, it would have to move farther than due north. Because this is moving northeast at 14 miles an hour, I think you can get what I'm getting at here. This is going to be a fish storm. What I mean by fish storm is this is impacting, thankfully, nobody out to the sea out near there. Now, also because this wind shear, you can kind of already see the wind shear as well. Wind shear meaning it's being sheared off by a front. In fact, it's kind of the same cold front that hit us over this past weekend. The cold front's kind of lingering and stalling out around South Florida here, and it's going right through where my arrow's going, the blue arrow's going. So the front is essentially cutting this system off. It's forming as a low pressure center that kind of fed off the remnants of the moisture of the cold front that hit the northeast over the weekend. But overall, this is moving northeast, moving away from the Arclitex. So the point is, we won't have to worry about the storm no more. In fact, you will see that on the forecast go. Not only that, because this storm is going to get sheared off so repeatedly here over the next 48 hours, it really isn't gaining strength. To be fair, it's not disintegrating either, mainly because it's over open waters and lots of warm waters. But essentially, the wind shear is canceling out any bits and hope of the system getting its act together, essentially. So it's going to remain a tropical storm. This should not even become a hurricane as it continues to move up northeast, and this will probably disintegrate by Thursday morning at the very least. So this could still last for another 2 days or so, just meandering well off the coastline. Again, this is not even causing beach issues, so to speak. I don't even think this is causing current issues. But anyways, none of this is going to even be striking the East Coast. Most importantly, this is not going to be concerning us at all. And you'll even see that lastly on our spaghetti models, which are going to load up here in just a moment. So that's going to be nice here for us. That kind of confirms us. Spaghetti models each have their own different way of thinking of where the storm is going to go. And again, if you notice, not one of them is anywhere close to landfall. Even the tippy edge of Canada, which sometimes gets remnant bits of moisture from tropical systems, not even that is going to be affected by this whatsoever. So that's Dexter. It's going to be a memory here in just a few days here, in just a little bit. Now, one last slide I have for you is to talk about our 2 areas of interest that do not include Dexter. Again, this does not include Dexter at all. We have an area of interest. So, again, to reiterate, sorry, but I just want to pinpoint out that, again, Dexter, not included on this map. These are 2 separate systems, 2 separate storms that could become named tropical systems. First, I guess let's discuss what's happening off the coast of Africa here first, mainly because it has a greater chance of forming. We have a wave, essentially, that is containing a lot more moisture than any bits of rounds of moisture that have tried to roll off the African coastline so far. Most of what's come off the coast of Africa has been nothing but Saharan dust. That's why our June and July have been so incredibly what's the word? Quiet, so to speak, here across the region. So that's going to have a 50, or essentially, we have this convective system that now has a 50% chance of forming within the next couple of days. It shouldn't form within the next 2 days, I believe. I think it has a 50-50 call on whether or not it forms within the next 5 to 7 days, essentially, as that continues to kind of get its act together as it's just now entering the open waters. But as you can kind of see, based on the trajectory of where that is, it's already, that based on that forecast, it's not a forecast cone, but where it could form in that orange shade, it already kind of has most of that moisture rotating northward instead of, say, entering the Caribbean, which anything that usually enters the Caribbean, goes into the islands, goes into the Caribbean Sea. Those are the kinds of storms that try to attack eventually the Gulf. It's so hard for a storm that's already turning northward, especially in like the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's hard for that system to essentially just go due westward without turning northward at all or having any kind of northern trajectory whatsoever. So, yeah, that's what we're watching out for here. Anyways, so that's for that system. Thankfully, that's going to be a fish storm here in the region, which is, hey, nice and dandy. Then what we got for you next is our 30% area of interest storm, which is the only storm out of the 3 that actually has a chance at forming, period. How about it? That'll be good news for us. So, or not good news for us. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. I need a drink. So the storm that has a 30% area of interest has a chance at hitting land. It is the only one of the 3 storms that has a chance of hitting any kind of landfall. So I guess what I mean is our odds are good, meaning the other 2 are just going to be hitting sea, including that 50% area of interest. The little yellow circle that has a 30% chance of a system forming within the next couple of days. If that forms, it hits the Carolinas. You can kind of see it's in the Atlantic Ocean. This shouldn't roll. It shouldn't roll across the Florida Peninsula. As of right now, again, that's going to kind of meander off the Carolina coastline and maybe hit, say, Myrtle Beach, I think, if it does form in the days ahead. We're just watching out for a little convective area, again, which can form off the coastline. And I think if it forms, again, if it's forming that close to the coastline, it's not going to have enough time, hopefully, to really be able to ramp itself up and to be able to become a potent system. Maybe it becomes a tropical storm and gives us lots of heavy rainfall, and that's still a concern in and of itself for areas of the Carolinas, such as South Carolina, North Carolina. But the point is, this system does not impact the Arclitex. The other two systems also do not affect the Arclitex. So guess what? Hey, this is a pretty great forecast for us locally in the Arclitex, because even though we have had ramped up the start of the season, and that is bad news because that could lead to the formation of more storms that eventually do target the Gulf and could affect the Arclitex. But for the moment, just take a deep breath. I know this is the start of the active season, but for now, we're fine. For now, we're fine. Don't have to worry about any major systems coming anywhere close, again, to our neck of the woods. All right, thanks for watching the first hour of the breakdown. That's all we got for you here for the day today. That's your tropical outlook here for your Monday. I know it was a little bit all over the place. Sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties going on the side here for us. Also, it's Monday. I need a coffee. I need more coffee after this. That's what I learned. I always feel like the most, what am I saying, tired days of the week always for me are Monday and Friday. Monday, I just can't get it going, and then Friday, I'm just burnt out, essentially. But anyways, hopefully you're having a great Monday, better Monday. Thank you very much for watching, though. I really do appreciate it. If you liked it, please feel free to like our YouTube stream. Just so you know, again, youtube.com, search KSLA News 12, and we'll be there as we are here all the time. Anyways, as I said, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much always for watching. I know for those of you who paid attention last Friday and said CJ Cartledge will be here on Monday, I'm sorry he is not. Our schedules got thrown around over the weekend. Some things happened over the weekend. We had to switch our schedules up a little bit. So I hosted this episode. I will be back, though, on Thursday. CJ Cartledge should have your podcast here for First Hour with a Breakdown for Tuesday and Wednesday coming up. Tomorrow, I believe he's talking about more of an August outlook to see how much rain we could get long-term wise and how the temperature outlook is going to be moving on throughout this month. Obviously, it's kind of the last month of summer. School's back in store, but hey, that kind of means fall's getting closer. And for those of you looking forward to cooler temperatures, they are on the way. I believe Labor Day is about a month away. Anyways, thanks for watching First Hour with a Breakdown. I will not see you tomorrow. CJ Cartledge will see you tomorrow. Be there, be square. Most importantly, be weather aware. Again, Tuesday at 10:30, same time, same place. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the cooler temperatures while they're around. Again, rest assured, as much as the tropics are, ramping up, thankfully, none of that's going to be impacting the Arclitex, at least in the next 7 days. Have a good one, and CJ, we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.